This term, the 4th of 2021, we are continuing our study of Rongton's Perfection of Wisdom. The Perfection of Wisdom is an important genre in Mahayana Buddhist literature, in Sanskrit, Prajna Paramita. And Rongton is a historical figure from 15th century Tibet, to which we in this community have a very close connection, to the extent that our college, Rongton Buddhist Training College, is named after him. As there may be a few new faces this evening, I'd like to introduce you all to our founder, spiritual director and teacher, Lama Choedak Rinpoche. Rinpoche was born into a family of nomads in Old Tibet, and his family was forced to flee into exile when he was still very young. He studied and practiced as a monk under some of Tibetan Buddhism's most eminent masters in India and Nepal, which culminated in him completing a 3.5-year solitary meditation retreat, earning him the title Lama. He later went on to earn the title Rinpoche in recognition of his translation work and expertise in transmitting traditional Buddhist teachings, such as Rongton's Perfection of Wisdom, to contemporary audiences, such as ourselves. So before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge and thank our generous benefactors who are, through this new system in the last year or two, are helping to make these teachings free for all, as well as the technical support team and the committee who all work very hard to make these teachings possible. So on that note, I'll leave you all with Rinpoche. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamila. Good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome to everyone. Thank you. Most of you have been with each other's company, as well as there are a few new ones. Thank you and welcome to join us in this very consistent fellowship of our community, staying connected, even though we are a little bit geographically more distant and not able to meet or do things together. But still we are able to do these things together without any hindrances, but actually even more without any of the effort that we usually require to go from one end of the town to another, and negotiating the traffic and parking and all the rest and so on. So we are all in 21st century, we're all traveling through the beam of the Zoom and able to be with each other's company. So it's very lovely. So this is our last term that we are going through this text, and this being our last term and also the nature of the subject, I'll make a little bit of use of this term. Also part of this session will be a little bit of meditation as you listen and then reflect, because the perfection of wisdom is actually a wisdom discerning the nature of self and lack of its inherent and independent, unitarily existing nature. And not seeing these, most people mistakenly grasp and cling as if they are their body or their gender or their culture, and their feelings are real and the happenings are affecting them one way or another too much, and they get so caught up in these things and very, very erroneously, on top of error, making more errors. erroneously, perpetually, erroneously. So perfection of wisdom is to do the exact opposite, Try to claim our lightness, our awareness, our freedom from having to grasp to our identity and a body or things as self, but go a little bit beyond that and have this amazing cognitive mind that transcend all these things, and And sometimes the perfection of wisdom is perfection of the dukkha. The dukkha is the suffering, and we don't want to talk about suffering all the time in Buddhist classes. We want to have some end of the dukkha and transforming it into sukha. The sukha means absence of sorrow. And perfection wisdom is the absence of sorrow, because sorrow comes from wrong views. There are no dukkha than the wrong view. We are always beaten by this wrong view. So now we have a little bit of glimpse of the right view. So we need to try to claim that in this session as we do the teachings. So let's firstly do our refuge and four immeasurables, and radiating our genuine gratitude and devotion and respect to the fully enlightened Buddha. Just thinking of the Buddha once by recollecting his quality is said to have lots of merit. But believing in his teachings, studying his texts, and taking a lot in our heart and try to apply in our everyday life has many, many merits. And particularly if we rejoice and offer our thanks to the Buddha by way of going for refuge, by way of reiterating our affirmation in the Dharma and faith in the amazing wisdom and faith and the benefit of our Sangha and our teachers and their teachers and an amazing work that has benefited and helped the world with these teachings. So with this in mind, we do the refuge not just as a formality, but as a meditation itself. So use the recitation of the refuge as a mindful recollection of the qualities of the Buddha's infinite compassion and the wisdom and discipline and amazing dedication when he practiced for 3 uncountable eons. Uncountable is usually countable 56 digits. So that's quite a lot of eons, 3 lots of uncountables. That's quite a lot. And each life he worked as a tireless, like mothers do in the home, tirelessly, not just to 1 or 2 children. For each life he gave like that, and finally he got enlightened 2,565 years ago in India. So this is so if you can remember, recollect that is as fresh as yesterday. It's such an amazing feat to accomplish. And so therefore, when we're doing the refuge, we should be meditating without any dullness and distraction, as if we have to do the refuge so that we can do the teaching type of thing. No, during the refuge, it is the practice, it is the meditation, it is the teaching also, because we are relishing the Dharma so much, and each time we remember the qualities of Buddha, it adds new kind of flavor and taste to the richness with which it sustains us spiritually and emotionally and intellectually as a person. So we need to, every single cells and tissues of your body, as you join your hands at the heart, you've got to feel that upliftment and a kind of like a very high spiritual experience. And that's exactly what this meditation we are going to discuss about, that the heat of the path of preparation takes you to the peak, peak of the height of the realization of joy, absence of laziness, and amazing sense of joy and upliftment in the meditation. So when we're doing refuge, it could be a conscious meditation of peak, your faith and devotion, diligence, are peaking in such a level that your whole spirit gets lifted up without any of the hindrances. And so when we do the refuge prayer and the four immeasurables, we can use the actual form of them as a refuge for immeasurable, but mindfully stay very present in the awareness that I am merely labeled, but I'm not body, I'm not my sickness. I am light. I am beyond body, beyond, sickness, beyond whatever the world is. We are completely aware of this indescribable, uplifting feeling of joy and gratitude, and some kind of ecstasy also is there. So lift your spirit as a mindful meditation when we do this refuge prayer and four immeasurables very thoughtfully. The Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajara Vyajala Dhamma Bhavacha Ajavandala Ashara Vadavadra Enda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajara Vyajala Dhamma Bhavacha Ajavandala Ashara Vadavadra Enda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajara Vyajala Dhamma Bhavacha Ajavandala Ashara Vadavadra Forbearance, happiness, and the cause of happiness, may there be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never bar from the happiness that no suffering, may they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May obedience and happiness and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never bar from the happiness and the suffering, may they dwell equanimity, free from her judgment and aversion to those near and far. May her bliss, happiness, and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never bar from the happiness that no suffering, may they dwell equanimity, free from her judgment and aversion to those near and far. According to the angelic and bread possession of we had yet and the Dharma agrelo come we go. So now we are in the really middle of the subject of meditation, of which we talked how to do the meditation without any dullness or agitation, but even if you have, how you may remedy them effectively. So this is a meditation path of preparation, which is called preparation because it's preparing you to realize path of seeing, which is perfection wisdom, is so that you actually have the opportunity to witness the awareness of the wisdom that you are cultivating through your meditation. Yeah, so this is called path of preparation. You're preparing to have a glimpse. Right now, our understanding of emptiness is a more like cognitive glimpse. We have a kind of intellectual understanding of what might be that is emptiness. But we want to upgrade that to make it meditative. We actually wanted to meditate and stay in that awareness of actually relishing this experience of seeing the perfect wisdom of discerning the nature of things as they are. Okay, so we have come to the place, it's called how to establish yourself in a meditative equipoise. And I would like you to do this as I explain. Try to sit upright and try to place your mind and very, very attentive, serene, and conscious. And this has, like we call, general method to meditate. That is actually sit still and bring your awareness. A specific method to meditate on these three particular meditation which we will go tonight. First is meditate on all things, all appearance, all things that you see or know or whatever, an object like this very thing that we are seeing. I can see you all in my room, but I don't think it's true. It's illusion. It's a zoom illusion. It's a zoom illusion. I saw them on Zoom, but he wasn't in here. ACT in New South Wales wouldn't allow each other to come in each other anyway. So we are not really there, is there? So meditate on the appearance, all appearance as illusion. Now this is not just try to refute the appearance as not there, but it's not refuting the appearance there. The appearance is there, but they are not there as it appears, Yeah, yeah. They are not there. They're just this small kind of on the screen. There it appears, but there's no. I know behind this screen, you're not there. I don't know how did you get in there, and so on. So we have to meditate on that all appearance are as illusion. But that appearance is an illusion, but the illusion is still illusion is manifestation of emptiness. Yeah, illusion is manifestation of emptiness. So the form that we see of each other is emptiness of the actual person. The appearance itself is proof of empty of you in this room, and I can definitely convince myself of that. I know you are not in my room. So that's particularly 30 of you. How would I possibly get the permission from government to have you all in my room? And same goes with you. Same goes you. Even in New Southwest, they relax a bit today, but you're not allowed to have more than 10 people. But how can you have all these people? So they are there, but they are not there, isn't it? So therefore, meditate. Not only this analogy of us seeing each other on the screen, but likewise, many things that has happened to your life that you thought was real are actually illusion. Yeah, and that illusion, the fact that you can see illusion, is the purity of emptiness, because it's empty. Therefore, illusion could be created. Illusion could be created because of emptiness. If the television screen is something else, it could not make you to appear, because a television screen itself is completely empty. It's completely selfless. This television screen is completely selfless of phenomena. Don't you think? It's completely selfless of the phenomena of being anything. It totally let anybody's face appear on there, and it is totally empty of any other function than allow anybody else manifest. So it's totally the illusion. The screen is television is completely empty of self. Because it is empty of self, it can allow others to appear. Because it's empty. Because it's empty, the form can manifest. And likewise, so therefore, appearance and emptiness, the appearance is not real, but because it's not real, the purity of emptiness manifests as appearances. So therefore, meditate on the non-duality of this appearance and emptiness. Yeah, appearance is one thing, and you see all appearance are but not real. Meaning it doesn't mean not real, meaning it can't be seen. And it says it is not independent. It is not truly existing. It is not permanent. And so all of these three basically confirms the appearance is just an illusion, is just an apparition. Other than the apparition, it doesn't really truly exist. Because it's apparition, apparition is empty, therefore it can be manifested. Because of that, therefore meditate on the what we call a non-duality of emptiness and appearance. So this is actually now you can move that into subjectively speaking, not just looking at something and things, but whatever you may bring your attention to. Yeah, you can put a memory of a feeling, or you can memory of a beautiful scenery, or memory of a taste, or memory of a music, or memory of a particular whatever five sensory experience you have. You can clearly bring to that attention just as clearly as you and I could see each other. Okay, you can you not? Yeah, just imagine, just try that. Try to bring something in your mind as clearly as we can see each other. So you can see the appearance. Like I could imagine my parents, because they both deceased, but I could still remember their face so lovingly. Every time I see their face, I can remember exactly who they are, and so I could bring that. I could bring totally that, and I might even try to arouse emotion as I'm missing them. Yeah. I have to try very hard, because I do, but I don't have the same feeling of people crying when they miss somebody. I don't have that. So I could actually do that. Interesting thing is, I could bring an appearance of emotion in my mind very, very clearly, and then so they're not there. They're no longer in this. They're no longer in a mortal form. I can't talk to them, but yet I could still clearly bring them to my memory, and then I can arouse a feeling of gratitude or love or respect or this I could do all of that. See, unimpedingly I could do that. So appearance of thoughts, of memories, images, emotions, we can give rise to unhinderedly. Nothing can obstruct that from happening. Just like you beaming into my room in the Zoom, yeah. So all appearance of visual or auditory or feelings, emotion, you can create them. So that's what's a meditate on appearance of a memory or something like that. And is it not illusion-like? Because in reality, they don't even relatively exist. Like you relatively is not in Canberra. Some of you are, but not in this room, Canberra. Some of you I know is a couple of suburbs down the road, or some of I don't know where you are in terms of geographical location. I can't put a GPS. So I sort of know you are somewhere, but I really can't pinpoint where you are. For instance, these days a little bit more. These days we can be sure of, oh, he's still in Canberra, or she's still in Brisbane, or she's still in Rockhampton or whatever, because we know people can't travel very much. Even then, I have to do that to bring the image very clearly and as it was real. But actually, the more clearly it manifests in my appearance to my mind, the more illusory it becomes. The reason why it is like that is that the natural purity of emptiness of you and natural purity of emptiness of me makes both yourself manifest in my mind, or I can bring memory of my parents. So this fact that they are there and they are not there, meaning is the non-duality of appearance of them and non-duality of emptiness of them. They are also empty, but they still appear. They appear in the mind. And so this is called meditation on the non-duality of appearance and emptiness. Now, this is very useful. Then we subjectively look at the self. Subjectively look at yourself, the feeling of innate me. You might say I, me. But let's now look and find the I. You try to find the I, try to find the I by being able to point your finger to a particular place, or inside you, or outside you, or in the shoes. Sometimes it might be in the shoes. Because when you look for the eye, you can't find the eye. You can't find the eye. So you seem to be there. Definitely you're there, but you couldn't find it. So that is the appearance is emptiness, and then so therefore appearance is like an illusion. When you look for it, it couldn't be found. But when you don't look, it seems to be there. So this is called the non-duality of appearance and emptiness. So can we do a 5 minutes meditation on you reflecting on that? Okay, that's very important, because that's what this text says. Establishing the actual meditative equipoise. Firstly, meditate on the appearance as an illusion for whatever. Secondly, meditate on the natural purity of the emptiness of the illusion. And thirdly, meditate on the non-duality of appearance and emptiness. So we will do the meditation for 5 minutes. Thank you. Everybody sit upright and are very conscious and bring your mind to something that really brings the clear appearance in your mind, and so real that you think it's so real, but when you check, it's not quite there. It's illusion, yeah, and likewise. So remain meditatively very conscious of this exercise, because the following explanation is to boost that even more. Why there are appearances if they are not the things that appears? If they are illusion, why do they appear? If the appearance, when it's examined, they are proven to be empty. And these are mutually inclusive. The first is meditating that appearance that is illusion, is to say the appearance is not independently there, but is dependently originated, and therefore it lacks inherent existence. It is not independently there, it is not truly there, but it is propped up by many things like the electricity and the power and all these technologies making things appear. And so likewise, in everyday life situations, when we see something, someone doing or whatever the appearance, it's not inherently there, but it's propped up by a number of causes and conditions. So the person or what they're doing is not independently they themselves are doing, but it is dependently originated. Because of whatever is dependent, it is not inherent. Whatever is dependent is impermanent, and therefore it is not unitarily existing. Because of that, the second is meditating even the emptiness itself. When we say the appearance is emptiness, emptiness self by nature empty of inherent existence. So emptiness is not something replacing the appearance, but emptiness self is not inherently existing. Okay, so neither is the form appearance truly inherently existing, nor is the empty itself is inherently existing. Emptiness also does not abide at all. You can't see the emptiness unless someone else sees it. So emptiness is also a phenomena that needs to be a seer. But if it is all examined carefully, it appears that their various forms can bring in our mind, and when we examine it, you can see what thoughts and what memory can bring those up, which while not thinking of other things, they don't come to the mental horizon. So if it's subjectively lacking, subjectively lacking, there cannot be an emptiness that does not have a support. So the something is supporting even the subjective awareness of something from the object. So the object is just as another depending factor for the emptiness. So there is no emptiness that is not the form, and there is no form that is not the emptiness. Therefore, meditating that both appearance and emptiness are by nature one, mutually inclusive. Neither of them could exist independently by themselves. So in this manner, we need to reflect many kinds of life experiences that we have gone through. We usually think it's truly independently caused by somebody, and we don't want to take any responsibility. And also, if we did something, we think it's all because of what I did. We don't see any other factors that are contributing to it. By not seeing this, we grasp to things wrongly as true and real and permanent, when actually they're all mutually inclusive. By not seeing this, and sentient beings wrongly view as truly and permanently independently existing. And so therefore you can now conceptually and meditatively reflect on what is called a path of preparation. Almost like you are preparing yourself to have the perfect view of the wisdom of seeing the non-duality of clarity and emptiness. So with this in mind, again, if can reflect on that for a little while, please. secondly, there are specific methods to do this meditation depending what kind of individuals you are, depending whether you think you are beginners, or whether you are intermediate, or whether you are fairly advanced. And so you can put yourself in any of those three choices, and then you can do the meditation accordingly. The first one is for a person of kind of beginner mentality. When a person of beginner's method has two parts. First, how to recognize your thoughts. You have to be completely cognizant of your own thoughts, and then once you have recognized your thoughts, meaning you have to be conscious of thought, and then try to train the basis of the object, whether your thought is a thought or thought is about an object. So that would be quite interesting. Interesting that you have an object that is giving you the thought, or your thought is object produced, or subject producing the thought about the object. It's very good to know that. Usually we are not aware. Usually we think that someone said this, and all of a sudden they made this happen. We don't realize whether how mutually inclusive the object is to the subject, the thought, and the thought is of the object. So first, once a thought has arisen, so you can do that. You can do that now. Once a thought has arisen, in form of what object does it appear? Is your thought is an object, or is a thought that is free of an object? So let the clarity dawn on the very object. So you have to meditate. You have to meditate on a thought, and then check whether the thought has once you have realized thought has arisen, see whether the thought is an object. Thought is regarding an object. Anyway, in either case, let the clarity of your mind, luminosity of your mind, dawn on the very object. So meaning stay focused on that very object, and until you yield clarity on the form of its shape, of its color, and you can say the object's color, shape, age, whatever it is, whatever description it is. See how much the object conjures up many adjectives and description in your mind. Okay. And we do this all the time usually, but not consciously. So now you consciously see yourself making a thought about an object, and then if the thought is concerning an object, how many description about the object appears or experience. Then let that very clear and cognizant mind itself to be very vivid, but lack true existence. The thought about object is completely aware, but it is empty of any of the color or shape or size or age of whatever you think. Like my daughter was talking about buying this dog, she showed me this photo, and they're so sure what the breed is, they were so enchanted, the dog. And they showed me the photo, but I can't make any sense of it. It's almost like empty to me. I got no idea. It's like looking at the snow and asking me to describe the snow. It's just snow. But Eskimos would tell you a lot about the snow, don't you think? They have a lot of thoughts about snows. So like that. So as soon as you become very cognizant of the object, now the mind that is cognizant itself is so vividly reflecting, but itself lacks any of the color, shape, and size, or any of that. And then meditate on it as a reflection, which appears but lack any self-nature that is not the object. This is very good meditation. Did you get that? So that is the first part of the beginner's meditation. Yeah, beginners should do that meditation. And then meditate on that very vivid thought itself, gradually reduced to the size of a tip of a hair. You just try to see the thought that doesn't have any color or shape, but still the thought that cognizes this is very lucidly there, and try to reduce it to the size of a tip of a hair, then let it vanish like a rainbow. Vanish like a rainbow. It wasn't there anything. What there could vanish? And emptiness doesn't need to vanish, does it? One should meditate in this manner with the thought on whatever is the object. So that whatever object comes to your mind, you should meditate on that. Whether the object is truly existing, or whether thought is truly existing. The more you conjure up the object, more the color, description, and the kind of things you describe. But now separate the subjective thought that sees that, and see whether you could really cognize that as a particular form or color or shape, and at least imagine it's got a size of a tip of a hair, and then it vanish altogether. So let's do that for a while. So in this way, when you meditate on an object that you are familiar with, it's much easier to set and focus your mind to hold onto that object that is very familiar to your mind. So very clear, almost like object becomes quickly cognizable in your mind because you're so familiar with that. Okay, and this kind of visualizing, or imagining an object that you're familiar with, then your mind is now able to be with that. The meditation on the vivid and the appearance is there, but object is only in your mind. Object is not there as an object. Object is in your mind, and lacking any nature will easily reject the clinging to material object. So this shows that even when you don't have object, your mind can clearly conjure up and see very clearly. And when you check carefully, it's not there, but your mind can familiarly can bring it very quickly. Your mind can switch on, it can bring it. This shows, but most of the things that we think are object are only caused by our thinking too much of it. When you're thinking too much of it, then the object. So the object therefore do not exist from its own side, independent of our conception and conceiving and grasping and conceiving of it. Then meditating not even on the vivid appearance, vivid subjective appearance, then meditating on the emptiness of the vivid but empty appearance is the meditative equanimity of of the meditation of preparations, what you call peak of the meditation. That's for beginners. Now for the intermediate practitioner is they should do this. This one is without relying on upon clearly as an object. Because we should be very intermediate ones, because we've done this so many times. We have created all in our head. We don't really need anymore any object. We don't need any object. We just can imagine ice cream. It just appears on you. Ice cream, kids, something like that. Now, without relying on a clearly focused object, there is vivid appearance which is devoid of nature. Vivid appearance of the thing is there, even if the object is not deliberately thought about. Even the appearance is devoid of observation. So this is for intermediate. Intermediate meditator should meditate on the subjective ability to clearly have the vivid appearance of the object, vivid appearance that is devoid of any nature, objectively speaking. It's only subjectively you're making it as objective. So subjectively you have the object without having the object to create in the subject, So all memory or whatever you have, you don't have to have the thing, but you still have this vivid memory, vivid appearance that is devoid of any nature. And that very vivid appearance is of course is devoid of any observation. You can't observe that because there's nothing to observe. There is no observer. There's nothing to observe. There is no act of observing. You didn't hear that, did you? So there is no sound, there is no hearer, there is no hearing. Of course, in this case there is. But say even if I'm not speaking, usually we could imagine we can hearing, and even most of the time we are not really hearing anything. We are only hearing what we're thinking we're hearing. This is what it's trying to say. We actually hear what we think we're hearing. We may not be hearing anything that independently exists as an object, because object is an illusion. Remember, the sound is illusion, auditory hallucination. So form is optical illusion, and we are capable of seeing things without things there. We are capable of we just usually see what we think it is, and so think might lack in even an objective sense. And now as an intermediate meditator, you actually don't need object. Without relying upon a clearly focused object, you still have a very vivid appearance which is devoid of any nature. Even the appearance is devoid of that observation. So that's you can see that's why it is given that as an example for the intermediate practitioner. But I think to appreciate the intermediate practitioner's meditation, you should first do the beginner's one few times, don't you think? Yeah. Now let's look at the advanced one. The advanced practitioner way to meditate is not relying neither on the focus of the object, neither relying on the focus of the object, nor needing to meditate on the lack of the observation on the appearance. As soon as whatever thought arises. So this is for intermediate. So for advanced practitioner, they don't need the object or try to invalidate the object being emptied. As soon as whatever thought arises, so this is advancement. Whatever thought arises in one's consciousness, one examines its nature with the wisdom of discriminating awareness and meditate without any objective observations. You simply remain aware of that, Yeah, you don't make any objective observation because there is not an objective observation. For example, when waves arise in the ocean, they again dissolve back into the ocean. They rise into the ocean. The ocean doesn't say, "Oh, there comes a wave. Oh, where did it go?" It never says that. Only we are the who thinks there's a wave. We are the thing that what happened to the wave. But ocean doesn't see waves. Ocean doesn't see waves disappearing. So the ocean, when the waves arise in the ocean, they also dissolve back into the ocean. Likewise, the meditator's thought also dissolve back into the unborn dharmata, and once again it dissolves into the unborn reality. So therefore, you don't judge any thought, don't anticipate any thought, don't tell what should or shouldn't do. Can simply be aware of this. So this is the advanced practitioner should do that. And these three beginners, intermediate, and advanced practitioner, it says that once one has mastered the beginner's way of meditating with the object, then one should learn to attempt on the intermediate way of doing the meditation. After mastering the intermediate way, then one should learn to do the advanced one. These three levels have been placed according to different levels of the candidate's intelligence. So that doesn't mean the candidate's intelligence says, "I don't want to do the first or second, I'll go straight in the third one." So it's possibly you should do the first one some, and as well as second and the third. So you can subjectively see the different subtlety into this meditation. It says, the stage of these three meditation ought to be endowed with 4 attributes. Yeah? And whatever thought arises is the attribute of observation. So you have to recognize, you have to be aware of the thought. That's because if you have a thought that has an attribute of observation, this is attribute of observation. Then the second is the realization of non-observation of that. So the realization of non-observation of that is the attribute of antidote. So you're not observing the thought. You're not saying, "I like this, I don't like this, I want this thought to stay long." You are not doing any of that. That is the attribute of antidote. So your peak meditation of path preparation has now the 2 attributes: attribute of observation and attribute of antidote, because of the non-observation. Yeah, first there is a little bit of observation. Yeah, whatever thought arises, you're acknowledging that. Okay, that's the observation. Second is the non-observation of the attribute of antidote. So you're not needing to actually observe that anymore. Third is the rise of uncontrived and non-conceptual meditative concentration after the pacification of the thought is the attribute of actual meditation. So that's when there's uncontrived, non-conceptual thought to replace the pacification of the thought is the actual meditation. Fourth, the thought, whether it will arise or not in the future, is the attribute of recollection. So these four attributes are the qualities that one will develop. And then it says, when the meditation takes place with these 4 attributes, if dullness takes over, focus on the 5 objects as if agitated focus the mind on the mind itself. Yeah. So that if it's dullness, and the heat meditative concentration. So heat meditation, meditative concentration, which we talked about, has 3 degrees. lesser degree, and middling, and great. If opposing factors arise when properly exerted effort of the meditative equipoise is employed, it is lesser heat. So that's of the four, heat, peak, forbearance, and supreme excellence. So here we're talking about the heat. If opposing factors still arise, even when you have properly exerted the correct effort, that means it's beginners. It's a beginners level of the heat meditation. If they do not arise when exerted effort is employed, it is the middling heat, is the middle level of heat. If it does not arise even without exertion, it is great heat. It is the highest level of heat. So that is the first of the four meditation of the path of preparation. Now the second is the peak. Peak has preparation and the main meditation. The method to dispel dullness and agitation are same as we discussed last session. The main distinctions are great, middling, and lesser degree of the distractions of pure dualistic conception that constitute the lesser, middling, and great peak of meditative concentration. The heat and peak sever dualistic conception of gross cognitions. Yeah. Now the dualistic conception is a little bit more destroyed in the peak than it is a heat. That's why it's called peak. Peak means that you have reached the peak where the wrong view, doubt, and guilt, and all those have now severed. You don't have this kind of these wrong view related obscurations. Therefore, you have reached the peak. Peak means you no longer can be hampered by the wrong views. And whatever object you were to focus, and you are able to relish the resource of great diligence and great concentration. The degree of concentration and degree of diligence so effective, like the the factors of enlightenment, of the great power of diligence, the power of concentration, and all of these things are greatly boosted. So now you have a lot of meditative resources, and because of that, it is able to prevent the grasping to imputed object as truly existing. You no longer do. You no longer have. You no longer. You see, all things are imputed, and because they're merely imputed, you do not develop grasping to them. Because when you don't have this realization, you don't think the object is merely imputed. You think the object exists from its own side. Now you have this ability to see objects are merely imputed, and because of that, you almost have no intention to develop grasping to it, because it is merely imputed. When you remember things are merely imputed, and then it suppresses the likelihood of developing any clinging to it. When you don't develop clinging to it, you do not have aversion to anything opposite to it. Because you're not developing clinging, your wisdom is peaking. Your wisdom is peaking, your wrong view is suppressed. That's what the peak is. Peak is when you're conquering the mountain. You conquer Mount Everest. Because you're enjoying the height and nothing to climb, because you reach the peak. Because the wrong views are no longer going to impact you. Why? Because your appearances are there, but you know they're merely imputed. You can whisper to yourself, merely imputed again, another merely imputed one. It's really good. So you can still relish, you can still play active part in the conventional world, but just merely imputed one. merely imputed one. And when you do, it's merely imputed. It's just a play. It's a play, you know. So you don't take tears seriously to anything, whether you lose it or win it. You know, it's neither of them are truly existing anyway. Because of that, there is absence of the wrong view and grasping. This is what it's called peak meditative concentration. So that peak severs the peak and heat and peak sever the dualistic conception of gross cognitive obscuration. Now, up to this, only the gross cognitive obscurations are remedied, but subtle cognitive obscuration, subtle clinging is still there. Subtle clinging is still there. So because otherwise path of seeing wouldn't have much left to do. So now we move to the third one, which is forbearance meditative concentration, which is the third. Forbearance meditative concentration has also two, the preparation and the main meditation, same as before. We talk about the preparation before. Preparation, you should meditate on death, remember? You should go to the cemetery. You should see you are nobody, because your body will be buried as soon as you die, within matter of 2-3 days, you would be put in a box and closed and will be quickly done, dust to dust or something like that. and you got to think of the emptiness of you as a mortal person. You will not be for very long on the surface of this earth, and so and thank goodness. At least some space will be freed, some parking space will be freed. So if you have difficulty understanding emptiness, think of death. Think of seeing some dead body as we do. So the preparation is meditating on the death and impermanence and so on, and then when you have the actual meditation, if you have any of the symptoms of the dullness and agitation, you remedy them as we discussed above. Same. The main distinction in the peak, main meditation, this meditation is forbearance. It's called forbearance because this meditation cuts the greater, middling, and lesser conceptual grasping to substantial object with the lesser, middling, and greater forbearance. So you're actually reducing. You're reducing your grasping to the conceptual grasping. Now this is only conceptual grasping. You still are very amazed by your mind. It's still got a lot of information, but it doesn't have any attraction to the object. It is totally independent of the object. It doesn't desire things, but the remnants of the desire from so many lifetimes are still intriguing you, still appearing into your mental horizons. Mental horizon. You thought you had no ants in the whole kitchen, but they're still appearing, like that. Like that. You thought you cleaned the whole place, nobody, all of a sudden there's still some appear. It's like that. But you become very patient. You become very patient. Forbearance meaning you're very, very patient with your own residual conceptual graspings, Residual conceptual grasping. Conceptual grasping to substantial object with a lesser degree is called lesser forbearance. Middling is middling forbearance. And advanced is, your conceptual grasping is your degree of patience so great that conceptual grasping is suppressed, and reduced, almost like vanishes because you are very effective. So that's why there are three subdivision with the forbearance, forbearance. So that's the third meditation. Now the fourth one is called supreme excellence of Dharma, supreme excellence or excellence of Dharma, meditative concentration. For this, the method of preparation and the main meditation to dispel the dullness, agitation are all same as above. Then the difference is only in the gradual chipping away or reduction of the grasping to labeling. Now the labeling is taking a hesitation. Very good. Now the mere imputing is also stopping. Yeah, reduction of the grasping to labeling, greater. If you totally eliminate the labeling, that is great excellence of Dharma. If the middling is the middling excellent Dharma, and if you can reduce the small kind of aptent of labeling, then it is a lesser excellence of Dharma. So this is the labeling, the mere labeling itself. Sometimes you see people, you don't want to give any label. You just no label occurs. Very good. Very good. Sometimes you forget people's name. Means really very good, It's very good to forget it. I think we should. The meditation on perfection wisdom is perfect dementia. from your convoluted world of dualities. It doesn't have this normal sense of the labeling, labeling. Because when people are dying with dementia or whatever, they basically losing the conceptual grasping of things, isn't it? Conceptual grasping of things, emotional memory, cognitive memory. They say, no, I can't think about it, don't talk about it. They can talk simple things. They can talk really simple things. They have patience with small things, and and they have no patience for anything, So like that, your mind becomes so innocent, so simple and devoid of that much neediness. So that's where that's the fourth one. Fourth one is even the reduction of the grasping to the labeling. There's no grasping to the labeling. And it is reducing from small to middling and middle to a great. And so now these four, what we call definitive discriminative factors of the path to preparation, called heat, peak, forbearance, and excellent Dharma, they need to have these four factors, four common attributes. Why you need these four common attributes that each of these four must have, in addition to the three different degrees of gradation within themselves, are what we call discriminative factors. You have to be very clear to discriminate which is which, what level it is, what distinguishes one from the another. This is attribute of familiarization. Second is attribute of clarity. Third is attribute of stability. And fourth is duration. So we are talking about four qualities, basically: familiarization, clarity, stability, and duration. So let's talk about these four one by one. First is the familiarization. The familiarization is maintaining your mind uninterruptedly for a long time on the meaning of the emptiness of the meditation, subject of meditation. So that means you are able to focus your attention. Let great degree of stillness is called the attribute of familiarization, uninterruptedly for a long time. Okay. Second, which is the attribute of clarity, is the second is an attribute of clarity which meditate on appearance which lack inherent existence after having paid attention to whichever object such as form or sound or whatever. So you have great ability to have vivid, serene clarity on the object of meditation. That's attributes of clarity. Third is attribute of stability. Is his stability is having a stable engagement of devotion. Yeah, of devotion due to the strength of former thoughts. And you can observe your, you can stay your object observation, a great degree of stability. Now, the fourth attribute is most beautifully long. Fourth attribute is attribute of time and duration. Now, this has got amazing list of details. I think these are very good for the meditators. You become very conscious of your not just familiarity and stability and all of that, but the actual duration of your effort, duration of your effort, duration. So these are, firstly, the four. This has 11 qualities. First is called short session. Short meaning your actual effort that you put is very sharp and short. Short means one should time the session so that estimate duration lasts until when one enjoys clear focus to hold the mind without having to exceed the time to get up from the seat. The first that is clear and short duration, and therefore it's called short and sharp duration. Short and sharp duration, okay? And the second is clear object. Clear object is the need of clarity of instruction that you know exactly what it is. Yeah, you know. So you know exactly clearly what is the technique of focusing your meditations. Clear object. And third is multiple repeatable sessions. Multiple repeatable sessions. So this means multiple means do many clear sub-sessions again and again in one very sit. Yeah? So don't try to sit one long and then that's the way. Even that's what we were doing in calm abiding. You can have a 1 hour session. You can put that into maybe 3 or 4 sub-sessions, and then within each sub-session you have many bouts, many bouts of effort. So that is what we mean by multiple many small sub-sessions again and again within the same seat without having to get up and think you can't do. So that you're building up your skill there. So that's the third one. Fourth one is the sharp antidote. Sharp antidote means if the mind wanders off, one should repeatedly bring the mind back and place it on the object. Having placed the mind on the object, if the mind is distracted, one exerts effort repeatedly on one's awareness as if spying on the mind. So that's exactly introspection. So the mind doesn't sort of sit there drifting in dullness or agitation. It is almost as quick as the interrupter is. Interrupting the interrupter. Let's go. If you're not sharp, you couldn't interrupt the interrupter. And fifth one is relaxed. In spite of doing all these first four, you should still be relaxed. Deep. Your awareness should be very gentle. If the antidote is over applied, even if one meditate, it will make the mind become rough. So you are able to tell that yourself. Making yourself becoming talkative or even thinking too much or dulling effect. Increases attachment, increased sickness, increased self-grasping. If one meditates while recollecting emptiness of dharmata without distracting the mind, the awareness will become relaxed and boost the practice. It lessens the sickness. So therefore it's very important to have this very gentleness, relaxed kind of awareness, and you are able to prevent the dullness and the roughness and the jittery and the kind of fidgetiness of your mind. And if the mind is used aggressively, the conception will gather where the thoughts are, and there the sickness will also gather. when the mind, when attached to an object, the conception changes totally. If the mind is placed deliberately on an object, it will leave at once. If attached, sever the thought that causes the attachment. Let the awareness do the watching with thought as support. Okay, number 6 is the timing of your not only sessions but subsessions, not only sessions, subsessions, but also bouts of effort. Mindfully time the session shows knowing how to time the meditation. If the mind distracts during preparation, when one focuses on the object, meditate by shifting the mind onto the very object of the main meditation. It will enhance the clarity of the meditation, then interrupt the clarity of the meditation. This is timing when to stop, when to continue the session. Okay, that's 6. 7th one is these are all to do with timing. 7th one is examining the quality of the focus. In spite of being good at timing, you should also check the quality of focus. If one wishes to do the meditation when one is meditating, because one is meditating already and still one wants to meditate, then exert the effort accordingly. So it means your meditation is good and you're relishing, and it really says, let's go on. Then see whether you have some kind of a additional kind of a horsepower left to boost the quality of meditation. So always be observant whether you need to sort of boost the effectiveness of concentration because you want to meditate even when you're meditating. If one do not wishes to meditate when attempting to meditate, do not force to meditate, but maintain the continuity of the meditative concentration. So this is the examining the quality of your focus. If the quality is improving and you want to improve, can you boost it to improve it? Or, when it is not, then can you still maintain it without losing the momentum? That's what it is. Number 8 is changing the form. Changing the form is, when dull, change the form of meditation. If agitated, shift the mind onto the mind itself and watch the internal mind itself. If dull, change the focus on an object and act as one is manifestly enjoying the effect in post-meditation. So this is changing the form. And then the 9th one is assessment. This assessment it has four assessment. Assess the fault and quality of your meditation. That's the first one. Second is assess the clarity of mindfulness and introspection of the object. And the third is assess the duration of the concentration of the concentration. And fourth is assess the awareness of one's own mind's element and energy. So you might be trying very hard, but you can feel your energy is not there much. So being able to assess that, so that's called doing the assessment. Now the 10th one is removing the faults. Firstly, when holding the focus on the mind, thoughts are the faults, Now, because you don't want to have any thoughts if you can keep your focus, your mind without any thoughts, So that's when the mind is abiding on the placement, meaning on the object, dullness and agitation are at faults, They are the faults of the meditation when it's abiding. Because even though you think you're abiding, but you don't notice how quickly it can sink into dullness or kind of excitement. When the mind is mastering the technique, grasping things as real is the fault. Now these are the meditator himself knowing which are at fault, And when the actual path, afflictions are the fault, Afflictions such as arrogance, these are the fault. These are now subjectively recognizing these four faults, Because when the mind is focusing on the object, then it should be there, sitting there. But if other thoughts comes, that's the fault. when mind is abiding and resting on the object of meditation, in the dullness and agitation of all. When the mind is mastering the technique and you know it's going well, then grasping that as real is the fault. You never win, can you? In perfection wisdom. When on the actual path, affliction of feeling, oh, I'm doing well, and have some kind of excitement, that is the fault, So I think we shouldn't tell these things too early to people, because nobody will meditate. Yeah. But these faults are actually good signs of progress, milestones. And then the 11th one is 11th one is implementing the signs. Implementing signs. Implementing signs has 3 parts. Sign of holding the mind, yeah. So you have to sign of holding the mind. That is lack of interest to engage outer worldly activities. You almost have disinterest to the ordinary worldly activities. So what is that? That's a sign of your mind really meditating very well. And then the second is sign of second is sign of holding the mind. Sign of sign of placing the mind. Second one is sign of abiding of the mind itself. First is holding. Second is mind itself is abiding on its own. So that one is most time is spent in meditative concentration, and is very keen to stay interested in doing meditation. So those are the third one is sign of mastering the mind. Second sign is sign of abiding the mind is that lack of wish to part the mind from the object of meditation. Even if the object is discarded, the mind goes back to the object effortlessly, and at that time the meditator has reached real kind of good meditative state. The complexion of his body will radiate, and his sickness will slowly become cured. If he has any sickness or something, they will be healed. The third is the ability to third one is the third sign is the sign of mastering the mind. That is the ability to shift into any object. You can now meditate on any object. The mind will meditate. One is able to increase the size of the visualized object as huge as mountain, and reduce it as tiny as a sesame seed without losing its clarity. Now, this is very useful for deity yoga. Clarity. It can heal like a nectar physical sicknesses. Harms from non-human beings will never happen. So this is now the meditator is reaching some great ability. Furthermore, those things we talk about. Furthermore, knowing how to time session, and that is the number 6, and examining the quality of focus, that's number 7, and implementing the science. These 3 concern with concluding the session. So that's that. And then changing the form, which is number 8, and assessment, which is number 9, concerned with the preparation of the session. The shortness of the session, number 1, the sharpness of the object, session number 2, and the ability to repeat many sessions concerns with when there is no fault in the meditation. So these are very important, isn't it? These amazing points are, if you have these attributes, it shows which qualities you are increasing. The exertion of antidote and relaxing the awareness concerns with what to do when there is fault. All faults and obstacles of meditative concentration should be remedied without failure with the three indispensable antidotes. The cultivation of the correct motivation of altruism is the indispensable antidote for the beginner and the preparation of the meditation. Realization of emptiness is indispensable wisdom in the actual session during the meditation itself, and the realization that all things are like an illusion is an indispensable reminder in the post-meditation period. Post-meditation period, yeah. Wow. The first one removes the fault of lesser vehicle. The second removes all likelihood of Mara attacks and obstacles through the power of realization of the lack of inherent existence of anything whatsoever. This is what is so meaningful when it does not need to resort to any other prevention or protection method. This is also meaning of the teachings. The third also severs all obstacles caused by Maras. All demonic harm stems from grasping to things as real. The realization that all things are illusion will remedy all these things. This completes the practice of the four definite meditative factors of the path of preparation: heat, peak, forbearance, and the excellent Dharma. So that concludes the third chapter of this series. So we'll stop there tonight. Make 5-minute meditation because yeah. Yeah, so that we'll conclude there. It's very good to see that when your mind develops in meditation, not only you don't see the object from its own side, but even your own tendency to label towards it is hastened. So not knowing, or not only we know that things are merely labeled, but we are also hesitating to do even merely labeling. If we don't do merely labeling, the thing hardly becomes hardly becomes anything. Because if we don't label, then the object hasn't got a life of its own to stand on. So when you are not labeling somebody as something as this, then the object is almost empty of inherent existence, because we are not even doing the mere labeling it. Because when we don't know that we are merely labeling it, we think the labeled is the labeled. We don't see that mere labeling is done by us or somebody else, and we just copy them. And then there's a lot of spaciousness in your mind, that the thing is merely labeled, either by somebody, or we copycat, or we are also unconsciously merely labeling it, but we still think the object is truly existing because it is there with a label. We don't realize if labeling can be unlabeled, and then the object is empty of the label. And the object that is empty of label is no object, really. So there is no objective object unless that subject labels it consciously, and consciously also do not do the merely labeling of it. Oh, I merely labeled him. I didn't realize all this time that it's all made up in my mind, and I superglued it. And now we are actually seeing, we are not even doing the merely labeling of it. Wow. So there's a lot there for Tina's teaching. I'm sure it's all good for all meditators. So thank you. We'll do the dedication of merits. Mahayana Buddhist, whatever merit I have, may all be because the love to the Mahayana Buddhist, courage, manjushne wode, as ama trabadra de la following all the zamba ajade o de mede zalam body jeda treva erana yadaza was bembo me freely without generation. Okay, thank you everyone.